Welcome to World Prism. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon for more breaking updates. The new year has begun with a political earthquake. The Supreme Court has struck down President Donald Trump's sweeping tariffs, declaring the legal authority he used unconstitutional. This dismantles a key pillar of the president's economic strategy and throws the White House into immediate chaos. Billions in tariff revenue are now legally void, upending the administration's budget and trade policy. The ruling raises urgent questions about the future of American trade and the limits of presidential power. The case centered on who has the power to tax, Congress or the president. The Trump administration argued emergencies justified unilateral tariffs, but the court disagreed. The justices found that using emergency powers to impose tariffs stretched the law too far, effectively allowing the president to create taxes alone. This is a direct challenge to Trump's governing style, which often relied on executive orders and emergency declarations. The Supreme Court has now drawn a clear line, reasserting the separation of powers. The battle over presidential authority and trade is just beginning. To grasp the impact of the court's decision, let's look at the tariffs themselves. In 2025, the Trump administration imposed heavy taxes on a vast array of imports, from Chinese electronics to European cars and global steel. The goal: make foreign goods pricier to boost American manufacturing and use tariffs as leverage in trade negotiations. Trump believed economic pain would force other countries to the table and rewrite unfair trade deals. The legal basis was the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, or IEEPA, invoked by declaring national emergencies like the fentanyl crisis and trade deficit. Critics argued this was a misuse of a law meant for genuine crises, not everyday trade policy. A group of importers challenged the president's authority, claiming the tariffs were an illegal tax imposed without Congress. Their case quickly reached the Supreme Court, setting the stage for this week's dramatic ruling. The administration's creative use of EPA allowed swift action, but it was always a legal gamble. The court's decision now leaves the administration scrambling for alternatives. The tariff's fate, and the future of U.S. trade, hangs in the balance. The legal fight over who controls America's trade policy is far from over. The consequences will ripple through the economy for years. The White House responded to the Supreme Court's ruling with defiance, immediately rolling out Plan B. This contingency plan aims to keep tariffs in place by reissuing them under different legal authorities. Officials are determined to prevent a sudden collapse of trade barriers and the loss of billions in revenue. White House spokesman Kush Desai insisted the ruling was a technical setback, not a defeat. The administration is now racing to find other laws to justify the tariffs before economic fallout worsens. Plan B is about more than trade. It's about fiscal survival, as tariff revenue funded key government programs. The pressure is on to restore this income stream quickly, avoiding drastic spending cuts or increased borrowing. International partners hoping for a softer U.S. stance were quickly disappointed. The administration's message: the trade war isn't over. The legal justification may change, but high tariffs and global uncertainty remain. The stage is set for continued conflict in global trade. So, what is Plan B? The administration is reviving old trade laws to rebuild its tariff wall. The most prominent is Section 232 of the Trade Expansion Act of 1962, letting the president impose tariffs for national security. The administration plans to broaden national security to cover semiconductors, pharmaceuticals, and more. Courts have historically given presidents leeway on national security, making this a stronger legal argument. Another tool, Section 301 of the Trade Act of 1974, used to retaliate against unfair foreign trade practices, especially against China. These laws require formal investigations and hearings, but provide a solid legal basis for targeted tariffs. The White House is also eyeing obscure statutes, like Section 122, temporary global tariffs, and Section 338, tariffs against discriminatory countries. By piecing together these authorities, the administration hopes to reconstruct its tariff regime. It's a complex, multi-pronged strategy to keep the trade war alive. Legal challenges are likely, but the administration is betting on these old laws to hold. The future of U.S. trade policy now rests on this patchwork of statutes. The Supreme Court's decision has triggered an immediate economic shockwave. Tariffs generated $200 billion in revenue last year. Now that stream is gone, leaving a major budget shortfall. Policymakers must find new revenue, cut spending, or borrow more, risking higher interest rates and market instability. Companies that paid the now illegal tariffs are lining up for refunds, with potential government liability reaching $100 billion. Major corporations like Costco have already filed claims, adding to the Treasury's uncertainty. Financial markets are bracing for turbulence as lost revenue and possible refunds shake investor confidence. For businesses, the situation is a double-edged sword: lower costs if tariffs vanish, but chaos if they return, under Plan B. The unpredictability makes it hard for companies to plan, hire, or invest. The administration's scramble to restore tariffs only deepens the uncertainty. The economic fallout from this legal battle is just beginning. The Supreme Court's ruling reverberates globally, especially as North America prepares to renegotiate the Canada-US-Mexico agreement. Trump's aggressive tariffs had already strained relations with Canada and Mexico, poisoning the well for upcoming talks. For a moment, the court's decision seemed to offer hope for more cooperative negotiations, but the White House's swift move to Plan B dashed those hopes, signaling the trade war continues. Now, Canada and Mexico must navigate a new legal landscape, unsure where the next tariff threat will come from. This uncertainty complicates their negotiating strategies and breeds distrust. Beyond North America, China and the EU are watching closely, seeing both weakness and defiance in the US response. The administration's pivot to old laws shows a persistent willingness to fight trade battles. Mixed signals could escalate disputes or make resolution harder. The future of global trade remains unpredictable. The world is bracing for more turbulence. As the dust settles, experts are weighing in. Most agree the Supreme Court's decision wasn't a surprise. Many saw the IEEPA tariffs as legally shaky. Andrew Hale of the Heritage Foundation called the tariffs fundamentally illegal and economically harmful. Lori Wallach of Resync Trade notes that Plan B's legal tools require formal investigations, making tariffs less nimble and harder to use as bargaining chips. The president can no longer impose tariffs with a tweet. The process is now slower and more bureaucratic. Clark Packard of the Cato Institute emphasizes the ruling's importance for congressional authority over taxes and trade. The decision is a check on executive power, reaffirming the constitutional balance. It's a reminder that even the president must follow the law. The outcome will shape U.S. trade, the economy, and prices for years. The fight over tariffs will impact jobs, businesses, and America's global relationships. The Supreme Court has drawn a line, but the White House is determined to find a way around it. The consequences of this historic clash are only beginning to unfold.